Hello. So this is a little podcast on the SUNY Cortland iTunes U website and how it works. I've gotten some questions from other faculty about how this can actually be used. So I'm just going through some of the really basic practical things. And to be honest, there's not much more than the basic. It's a pretty simple thing to make use of. So here we are looking at the front page of the SUNY Cortland iTunes U site. And this site works much the same way as the regular iTunes music store, if you're familiar with that, and it works within iTunes, which is what we're looking at now. And so all of those things work the same way. So when you're here looking at the front page of our store, so to speak, the links down at the bottom here for music productions, information resources, and so on are the public site. They are available at cortland.edu/iTunes, I believe, although you can see there really isn't anything in there. I also think this community podcasts might be available on that site. You can go and check it out. However, these two, the SUNY Cortland courses and the Digital Living, which is the learning community I'm in this year, are not available to the public. You have to log in through Banner to get into the courses that you're associated with, whether you're a student or a faculty member, and so that makes these places a little bit more secure, right, just for the people that are involved. So I'm going to click here on Digital Living, and this will show you the three courses that are part of our learning community. And my course is this one here, Writing in the Digital Age. I'm going to go in here. So now here is the page that you work with as a faculty member, and there are several features to it. First of all, you'll notice down here that there are two tabs, Podcasts and Student Uploads. These are the two that I've created, and in a minute I'll show you how you could add more. But basically this is where I put in my podcasts as I create them, and then here in the Student Uploads you can see the podcasts that the students have uploaded to share with one another. So in addition to that, you just have the information here at the top about the course and a couple of buttons, which I'll get to here in a second. So if you wanted to download one of these songs, and I'm just going to scroll over here to the side, I could just click here on one of these buttons, like this one, and that would allow me to get a song. Right? So it's just going to start downloading it. You'll see this downloads opened up, and you can see as that track downloads. So that way I can download an individual song. Now if I go back to the iTunes store, in addition to downloading individual songs, I could click here on Get Tracks, and that would allow me to download all of the tracks that are in this tab. Or alternately, I could click on Subscribe, and then that would add this page to my list of podcast subscriptions. So I'm just going to go up here and show you what's on here. Here's my PWR 129 student uploads. So I could go in here and see all the things that I've downloaded. And if I wanted to, I could click here on Update Podcast, and then that way I could pick up any new downloads that I haven't had access to yet. But I think I've got them all. Oh, let's see. Here comes another one. Anyway, so that's all that takes to getting access to the files that are there, and your students would do that the same way. They would see the same kind of thing. So now that's really all there is to it in terms of downloading files, but there are a couple of other things you can do here on this page. For example, you can edit the page, and this allows you to do a couple of things. First, you can edit the title information. So if I click on Edit here, I can edit this where it says Professor Alex Reed for the Digital Learning Community, if I wanted to. I can edit the description of the course here. So if I wanted to add, this is a course that introduces students to Web 2.0 applications, which is not a complete description, but I could go on and don't need to. So anyway, I can add that in there or change that later. In addition to those things, you also have here the ability to add a new tab, as I mentioned. So here's a new tab, or I can just cancel that. Now, in addition to adding or taking away tabs, you can set the permissions. That's what this access panel here is for. And you'll see here we're looking in the student uploads, and I've set my student access to shared. Right? And that means that they can upload files, but they can also download files from this tab. Now, I could set it to no access and they wouldn't see it. Download, which would only allow them to take things out of here that I put up there. Dropbox, which obviously would allow them to upload, but then they wouldn't see the tab and they wouldn't have any access to what was in there, so that would be a place for submitting assignments or something like that. And then the shared, which is what I have, which allows them to share their files with one another. Of course, when you do that, you do have to be careful about, issues of copyright and things like that, because you wouldn't want students mistakenly sharing files that they ought not to be sharing. So those are the different options. There's not a whole lot, but it's really all you need to basically set up a brief description of your course, set up some areas for sharing files, and then set up the permissions that you want to have for those various areas. So those are all the things you can really do in here, but there's one other very important element to this, of course, which is actually uploading the files. And so I'll show you how that works. When you click on the Uploads file, it's going to take you into this web page. And here you can see that uploading tracks is very similar to uploading files in a course management system like WebCT, or adding attachments to an email. It's quite simple. So here if I click on Add Tracks, first let me just say here it brings up this little note which tells you that there are only certain kinds of files that you can upload. There are these certain audio files that are either MP3 files or M4A files. M4A files are the kind that are sort of a next generation MP3 and are the ones that allow you to do enhanced podcasts and so forth. And then the other files that you can upload are the video files that could be MPEG-4 or H.264. And those would have these kinds of file extensions. And these are the things that you can watch on a video iPod or in QuickTime or inside of iTunes itself. So within those limitations, however, the actual uploading of the files is very easy. You can see here that I'm in the Podcasts tab, so I'm going to be uploading files into Podcasts. I could switch to Student Uploads and upload into there if I wanted to. I just click on Browse, and then I can click here and select this podcast, click on Open, and now the upload is in the queue, and it's uploading the 2.5 megabytes of the file. Now it's done. And it should now appear here on the list. Now if I wanted to, I could, by selecting it, I can then move the track into Student Uploads or into the trash or whatever. So if I won't put it in the wrong place, it's easy enough to move it somewhere else. So now if I just click on Return to iTunes, it will take me back in here, and we should see, there you go. The Mood podcast is now part of the list. And so it's really that simple, and that's all there is to it. Now, of course, the really tricky part here, the challenging part of working with iTunes University, is not the uploading of the files or the sharing of the files or even the setting up of your page and the few different options that you have in here. The real trick is creating the content to begin with, creating the audio files, creating the video files, whether that means that you're going to record lectures or class discussion, or you're going to create your own audio in your office or at home, or you're going to create video for various purposes, or you're going to have your students do those things, which is another step in potential complexity. those are the tricks. So I think that in the upcoming weeks I'm going to be producing some more screencasts on those subjects. I'm going to be teaching a course online next semester called Writing in Cyberspace, and it's going to be addressing those issues anyway. So I'm going to be creating screencasts for the purpose of instructing students in making a podcast or editing videos in iMovie and those kinds of things. So you should be looking for those things here as well. But that's all I have for today. I hope this was a little informative for you. Thanks. Bye-bye.